Sharon wants to get married.
Teach your children well.
Trip on me, time zone trippers. I'm so turned on I can't be turned off. I'm so spaced flying buttresses won't keep me down.
I turn you on and you turn on me. I tune you in and you tune me out.
Fucking A, Charlie. I'm picking up your bad vibes. Don't think I'm not. Whoa. Don't turn me off, man. Don't cut me off, pusher man. You got me so high I'll never come down. I'm too big for that. I own this fucking town. You'll never work in this town again, motherfucker. You're blackballed. You funky-eyed hobbit. I've X'd you out of my world.
Kicks.
Will you be my best man, Charlie?
I think we may have a possible Christ. We want to make sure if it is his second coming. We want him on our side.
If it's him, well, you picked a hell of a time to come back if we're to find him. It's so easy for him to blend in with that long hair and beard, and if he does, they all look like that.
That's why we're working with the LAPD pigs.
Charlie's different. You just look in his eyes and you know it's him. And you want to spend the rest of your eternal life there, inside.
I still can't see spending eternity sitting on his lap. I've seen this Charlie character, and he, what do the kids call it? Freaks me out. Most of his followers seem to be girls. Teenage girls. Topless teenage girls.
Maybe he's learned something in 2,000 years.
His exegesis of Revelations is interesting.
Well, there's nothing in it that we can't find in Aquinas if we look hard enough. It's just a matter of learning to read, to watch. The monks are reading McLuhan, you know.
The Illuminators have taken control of the text.
Today's Christ will have to understand and take control of the electronic media. He'll have to be some kind of superstar.
Well, I must say our Charlie is good looking. And a bit of a stud, I'm afraid.
The kids have to be reached.
And his take on the crucifixion is rather ingenious. He seems to be willingly following his own path of self-destruction, but he also seems to want to take a considerable portion of humanity with him.
I know the FBI's interested.
That'll look good, won't it, to have Hoover's boys filling full of bullet holes.
Are you so sure he's Catholic?
If he's not, we'll shoot him first. We've worked too long building to have some crazy come along out of nowhere and tear it all down.
We've lost a couple of nuns to the family, and we haven't heard from them since.
How can we hold that against them?
Christ wouldn't walk around with his shirt tail out.
He doesn't even wear a shirt or shoes. I'd hate to be the whore who washes his mungy feet. They have to smell the earth, and a lot has gone down in 2,000 years.
They say he picked up a dead songbird from the desert floor and breathed into its lungs so lovingly he played it like a heavenly flute, and that the revived bird raised phoenix-like and flew off to give the good news of his coming messenger, like in divine song, for anyone with love in their hearts to listen. And that is the language that the whole world understands. Like the Beatles.
This bird, have they tagged him? Do they follow its route across the ends of the earth?
It's probably flapping around the Santa Monica Pier, scrounging breadcrumbs and French fries.
They also say he sliced the ear off a poor wretched soul and sewed it back on.
Was it fully healed?
I guess so.
But in our holy text, it was Peter who performed that gruesome loving act, wasn't it? Unless he was taking the rap for his master. And that's exactly what one of Charlie's disciples, a certain Bobby Beausoleil, is doing for his old man.
That's another thing. How old is our Charlie?
Well, he was born a bastard
Good.
in 1934.
Christmas Day? No.
And I suppose a star, a superstar, twinkled its approval.
UFO sightings. Scores of them. God help me, that's what we found.
Maybe that explains these kids. These hippie stuff was sent to us from outer space where they belong to mess with our heads, right?
Talking hippie talk.
I guess we all will before we revert to the apes.
When I see the hippie, and that includes your Charlie, I'm glad I became a priest. Our organs of procreation may be useless for the refined, acquired pleasures of guilt, but at least ours aren't turned against ourselves, like seeds splattering submachine guns, raising a whole generation just so they can get mowed down by their own spawn. It makes our fight against our own sperm worth it. We survive, and we get eternity too, in a pleasant place, I might add. The priests are separated from the rest, from the secular do-gooder filth in heaven, and from women. I don't think I even want to see Mary.
Heaven for me would be an end to these incessant vile dreams of women, of girls, girls with knives, forks, guns, rope, and their own bodies. Manson girls, if you must know the truth. This past week I have dreamed through more killings than I could count, all perpetrated by this Manson clan, God forgive me. Last night that idiotic one, I think they call her Sister Sadie, did a little dance for me in my sleep, for my benefit. It was a horror. She was all limbs and knives and snakes. I swear she was here, if not by God, then by Tertullian. If not her, then her perfectly formed succubus.
Saw her too. They call it creepy crawling, I think. The church's own rhetoric is lagging, I fear. I can't express to you without committing the tongue's own sin what a battle it was to forestall a great gushing orgasm of my own, God forbid, Mary. I think I grabbed a double-ganged sword for my own use, snatched it right out of her stigmatic hands so I could fight her off.
What? That wasn't a sword. It was your own steeled manhood risen up high as the pride of the swarthiest blacksmith and beaten on the hottest coals of hell. Cling clang, I say, you mean I ring it out in one big resound, waking up from the village's boys from willful, sinful, erotic dreams at that exact moment that a priest feels is gone for the first time, or else that terrible moment. It must be terrible that a boy feels that other calling, that shrill harp tone that he hears in his own gutturals, that crowd coo issuing forth from the vial, unwashed by Hail Mary's throats of washerwomen, chambermaids, or as that sister priesthood of these modern times that shares our obsession with the testes, the psychiatrist it is of whom I speak, or who, as I was saying, from mother's own throat, but never Mary's. And their souls are bought so cheaply for spermy fairy seeds that are good for nothing, nor good for market unless you would sell your body too, poor lad. And you have gambled away pails of creamy mother's milk, pails to keep your hands busy, to burden your sprouting body with good heaven-sent gravity at a force just enough to make build a healthy, sexually repressed body, your penis tied up like a boy's counts, not that you faithfully learned but never had need to use, except in your mind, at this your passage into adulthood. And feel relieved you have my permission, young man. Feel relieved that the weight of the gravity you feel is less than what the cow feels at her udder at milking time, less even than that which makes a saggy a mother's soggy paps, a natural law that offers further proof of God in his sport, and a law that spares none that belong to the female race, none but the nuns, that is. Bless Mary, and the gravity you feel will be lesser still than the gravity that sent Galileo to his hell like a drop pop fly in no field. Though I rule And we all know that his mind was absorbed like waste tissue on the high science study of the ark. His own semen spurt made and makes for the ages he would have us suppose, as he operated on himself like some great godlike experimenter that creates new universes and semen-smeared slides and test tubes filled superfluously to the brim. See him work by motive, life breaking the scientific method with pleasure, with the same relish he takes in breaking God's greater law, proven thus on battlefield, reaffirmed the more with every passing plague year. Dear divine law, passing out sentences in 100-year increments, mocking the evolutionists who can't evolve fast enough to keep up, breaking them on their deathbeds so that they repeat with their last squeaks, the last pleas and confessions of heretics bed triple. One for God, one for Jesus, and one for the Holy Ghost on anointed church racks. Observe this failed experiment, this Galileo chock full of atoms that have been pointed to the straight and narrow, full of atoms more powerful than the biggest atomic bomb because they have been given the God, given power to sin. Watch him soil ruin his experiment with his own waste. His experiment with his own waste, his own dropped load come crashing down to earth. An experiment gone out of control, spilling over the whole crummy laboratory. The same hand worked pages touched by monks' hands that never once touched their own privates. Pages ripped out like ribs from the spine of that holiest church. Relic remains of the living word, too holy to read. Word becomes screaming flesh, ripped with gusto for their illustrations. One man's illuminations being another man's illustrations, ripped out from their binding, their hold, their grammar, and for what? So that you can give yourself great gift, an erection, a first step on your scientific proof that proves nothing but that you are a fool, the court jester of wicked kings. All the new world's gold cannot shore up the pasty leaks in the experiment that has you X'd. You out from his kingdom, and how easy it was for you to harden, impious one, feasting your eyes on images pulled, ripped out of context, ripped out like floating rims from a pauper's cadaver, laid out on a slab by that sinner artist, Caravaggio, as he would have Christ re-crucified and repositioned, looking like some lurid, stinking meat form. The coos come hither, pretty boy, blow life in me through the still intact flute. Don't stray from your path, baby brother, shepherd whose staff has grown queerly, heavy, limber, weary. You have to save yourself first. You know, lamb that watches over the sheep, lamb that watches queerly the flock bucking and biting, kicking, making crazy new sounds that call, that would lead the shepherd astray, or turn these new thoughts inwards in the breaking, halting sound of his new voice. The whole herd gone ram, sprouting horns. Don't let one escape. There is no turning back then. Keep it inside. Breathe until your balls turn blue. You will know that the hottest, bluest flame has reached your heart. Great balls of fire purify all in your aching, healing fire. Jesus has blessed the marketplace. He has given his word, his honor to the invisible hand of Caesar that watches over the dealings and tradings, pocketing a few coins here and there, keeping the palms greased and the scales balanced. Well, until Christ himself comes down with his own scales balanced frighteningly true and assumes the means of production, but he will manufacture only light and darkness and fire and brimstone, and for currency your sweated, clipped, counterfeit souls. With this aside, a distant thought to all but the most pious of lads, we return to our industrious boy subject. And too late, I fear. Look at him. He has traded his fresh milk, full pails of it, for fairy seeds. Some moneylender, driven away, has got in again. Oh, and how will your mother eat? Where is the meal to make her cakes? Let her drown in milk? Let her flounder there, I say, and marry too, like a frog, in a runny pail of souring milk, curdling before her eyes, the witch! His voice booming now, deepened the length of 4 rows down the choir. And look at that part of him to match his voice, risen up defiantly against the main arch, rocking the flying buttress with each added inch. 5, 6, 7, 8, and no matter how long it gets, we always want another inch. Look at our boy. He was not made for the priesthood. A monk's robe could hide that, but not from God. And those stains run deep indeed, like a river under the earth. Let him take his place in the chorus of wolf whistles. And whatever it is he shouts at orgasm, just a ridicule priest. Basso profundo, long live the knife, I say. Every time we lose one, it breaks my heart. Better far to do God's job for him, isn't it? Take away those little nothings before they hear those stirrings and callings. Before those twin globes, so tiny, have taken their place at the center of the universe. So much, so sweet, heavenly music, and no one to sing it. A voice that high, so high, higher, highest, reaches heaven, you know. I say we put in with this Manson and take up the knife. Nothing could be so loving.
Are you through?
Ha! Look at him. Look at Father. He's hard, and he's showing through his robes.
That's not fair. What is he, some kind of nut dream analyzer?
Why don't you get real and just call it prophecy?
Yeah? Why don't you let him finish? Let him finish telling his dream.
Why? So you can come all over yourself? Look at you. How to make you turn in your robes. You're building some kind of freaky Tower of Babel there. You're messing with God's head, man. It's just like the story. When you build up like that, it's like some way out radio transmitter that garbles God's word into mush. Like a million radio stations turned on at once. You can't tune in, man. It's daze and confusion, feedback city. Like the wires in your brain got substituted by mistake for the wires in your guitar. And it got weird, spacey, like nothing you ever heard. And you had to learn all over to play your head, or give up and stay up all night on speed and try to put your head back together. More progressive than the White Album, the sounds that come out when you learn to play your head. You forget about your cock. Maybe you make it go wang when you want to get down and grab a note by the balls, but man, you gotta learn how to play first. Your own head. That's why we need Charlie. He tunes us in. He's our George Martin. He takes the sounds, far freaky sounds too, and he tunes them in, makes sense out of them, so God can tune in and understand it. Get into it as easy as bubblegum music, strictly top 10 sounds, man, but good sounds. Head music, heavy acid rock, real jam. Play the whole side. A 20-minute jam is nothing on this station. Real progressive free form, man. The jam can last your whole life long. Then turn it over and play the other side. But God's got to understand, and your cock antenna's nothing but in the way. Messed up interference. Give God back his voice, man. This babble shit is baby talk. Real teeny bop. Give Sadie back her cock. That's what the knife's for, man.
That Sadie Mae Glut scared me out of my hair shirt. If she comes back tonight, there's no telling what I'll do.
You've got to dream of her again tonight. That will be the 7th night in a row. That's it, end of series. No sequels, no fall seasons, no reruns. And the prophecy will be spelled out, clear like a polished final draft shooting script. And all that's left is the living. It will practically direct itself.
I can't. I'll stay up all night. That's what I'll do.
It's too late for that. The establishment has been asleep too long. You can't just open your bug eyes now and expect to watch Ozzy and Harriet reruns all night. Sadie will turn you off so fast she'll have you dreaming of test patterns. Anything, man, only there won't be a station that you can turn to some crazy fucking freaked out purgatory that is, isn't it, Father Goose?
Are you purgatory? That sounds like hell to me. We shouldn't have blackballed the flying nun. That's how the church-killing false pope antichrist here sees you're socking it too as root, isn't it? On her back like wings, the wires you don't see until it's too late.
Take the knife Sadie offers you, Mr. Cleaver. It's love.
You're one of them, aren't you? You want to replace our dead Christ with your living Manson.
Why don't you just give him a haircut first?
Charlie gives us back our heads. Mind space is a trip on the Word of God. It's such space music. And Charlie's there to really good. Far better than the Beach Boys or even the Beatles. And he lets you jam. You're like the cat in the story messing with this word. Like the Beach Boys did when they took Cease to Exist and did a number on it. Yeah, a real funky little number. Just right for a net cover. But the Charlie hears everything, man. The vibe came back to its source, its feedback. But the words didn't fit, man. He almost choked on them. The vibe shook him so hard it threw him off the universe's natural vibrations. Every comma of the living word is perfectly placed, man. It's like the story. You don't put John the Baptist's severed head on Christ's righteous body on the cross just so you can dig on it without feeling too guilty about it. Well, every bunk note is like another nail driven into Charlie. Cease to resist caused so many bad vibrations that it started fires all over the fucking place.
Can I lick the snot off your nose?
Wow. Sadie made gloves. You're some slick chick.
Charlie says I know how to make a man feel like a man.
I think you left a little near the nostril.
I like the taste better than cum.
You want to blow me again. Huh, Sadie Mae Gloves.
Don't you want me to?
Oh, Sadie, you're beginning to bore me.
Fuck off, then.
Listen, I've done everything I could possibly do in this life. What's left?
Have you dropped STP?
Yeah.
What about sex?
The whole Karma Sutra. I even created a few positions of my own. I even sucked off a Cocker Spaniel because Charlie told me to.
Far out. That's why I like to suck your cock. It's been there.
It knows what's under every rock. I think it's drilled to China a few times. My cock is so goddamn jaded it yawns before it ejaculates.
But what about killing? There's a real thrill, stud.
Yeah, right. Big wow. You've been floating on air since you off that Hinman creep. Like you're in love with the whole goddamn world. The first kill is always wonderful, Sadie, but it wears off. And no matter how more you kill, it's never as right on as the very first time.
Fuck. You make it feel like I was wasting my time, like I'm some nothing. Well, you ask Gary about that.
Death is a far-out trip. I can sense it.
Charlie's tuned into death. He can tune it in like KHJ. 1,000,000 kilowatts, no static. I think they pump it in through Tijuana. It's just another vibe.
Sometimes I feel like I'm in between two stations. Some crazy freaked out limbo or something. Oh, man. I'm so space. My head's the world, the globe, man. And the music's bouncing inside, like I'm tuned into every station in the radio. All at once, playing at the same time. Man, acid tunes me into that really good. It's a head game. I turn the volume up in my head all the way, and I jam. I hear all your feedback, man. I'm God.
You're God? I thought Charlie's God.
Well, I'm Paul McCartney.
Charlie's going to be more popular than Jesus, than the Beatles. Moses is going to take Charlie's gold record down to the people. It's really good, and I sing backup. Real bitchin'. Dennis wants me to join the Honeys.
Mike Love promised to teach me sitar if I'd introduce him to Squeaky.
You think Brian sings high? You should have heard Gary last night when I stuck him.
Man, I need a little stronger stuff than your teeny bop murders to give me a lift.
When we make top 10, maybe I'll let you carry my knife.
If you make it that far, you'll really bring out the copycats.
I want my picture in the paper. It's no good if I can't star in my own picture. It's not fair. The stiffs get all the attention.
Man, life's a trip. It really is.
That's what's wrong with this family. All the dudes are philosophers. You'd rather talk heavy shit than fuck or nail some pig.
Games, Fox. Heavy games, but still games. It's a real down trip. I've broken every rule already. Cheated everyone I know. Even myself, man. I just want to cash in my chips, baby. Man, your Spawn trip's one heavy bonaroo to you, but wow, it's Baltic Avenue to me. I'm on a death trip. Man, I'm on a death trip, baby. Do not pass go. I want you to give me a far out skull job so I can blow my brains out when I come. That's my trip. It's where my head's at right now.
Wow, you shit me not.
I've done everything else. I've got that one thrill left. You can't deny a dying kid his cotton candy and a trip to Disneyland. This world owes me that one last head rush to send me off to Tomorrowland.
I'll give you the best head you've ever had in your life.
Man, I feel so mungy. I just feel it in my soul. Even the soles of my feet are stone mungy. I'm so tripped out. Help me come down, sexy Sadie.
I think I've fallen in love with you, Zero. He didn't come. Did he come?
Go now. I send you forth as lambs in the midst of wolves. Carry naught but knives. Greet no one on the way. Whatever house you enter, first say, peace to this house.
What if it's Melcher? You think I'm gonna be flashing him a peace sign? Or reaching for something that talks a little sense to a pig like that?
Yeah, Charlie. Pigs don't start listening till you've sliced their ears off. We'll do Melcher that favor, and then we'll march him into the recording studio. He'll recognize your genius, but good then.
Fear is a vibe that really tunes you in. You can listen, but you don't really hear, man. So you've got that awareness, that fear vibe.
You've led us to the front door with a few trills on your pipe. Piper man, what next?
Enter. And if a son of peace be there, your peace will rest upon him. But if not, it will return to you. You will have to make your own welcome.
After tonight, the pigs will roll out the red carpet for us. Every house in Benedict Canyon will have a Welcome Charlie doormat.
You've put us right on the front line, Charlie. Lead on, lead on.
Shine on, friendly neighborhood travel agent trip maker, sir.
Map for us.